How do you create a track that sounds like Böhmer, and how do you create a track that sounds full and round for melodic house? So let's dive into the track to just kind of see how it sounds like. Now this was not the mixed down version yet, and it's still the pure production phase. So let's check out every single lead element. So the first element that's kind of grabbing the attention in the beginning of the track is probably this guitar element here, which is a guitar element from Splice, and I basically just, use some transient shaping to make it a bit more punchy. Some bit crusher to make it sound a bit more brighter. Some ZEQ to boost some of the high end. Some compression, echo boy, channel Q, and chroma verb. And then after this gets introduced, the main pad gets introduced, which is a pad from Analog Lab. It's called Blowed Pad. And I used some phase here to give it some movement. The main leads come in at this point, and I love this synth. It's called Stellar Evolution, this preset. So after we have this introduced, the violins are always like an indicator for a new change in the track. So, and then this lead element gets introduced. And here, just from labs, some simple violins, pizzicato ensemble with some simple sample delay to give it more width, Echo Boy, JR, RC20. And this kind of just creates the main melody as the track slowly builds. And then eventually violins come in. And on top of this violin layer, I created this violin plug group, which basically are just a bunch of violins playing the same notes, just to create like an illusion of multiple violins, playing in a bigger group together with similar settings. Not all of them are the same, so they create a bit of variation. But yeah, that's basically it. So quite easy to create. So this, for the violins, I use a combination out of original strings pizzicato from Spitfire Audio and from Labs, the pizzicato ensemble I already introduced earlier. Now, as this keeps building, eventually the break gets introduced. And here I used the piano from Spitfire Audio again. And just kind of improvise the melody here. Then the violins group gets introduced again in a bit of a different arrangement here. Violin again. Now, what's really important in this break is the variation that happens from time to time. So the main synth still keeps playing. And in the atmosphere section, what's really important is that I created here this ocean layer. All those cool effects you can hear are just some splice samples. Let me solo this group. It's a combination out of atmospheres. What I like to do, I like to type in experimental effects and splice, and then I get like really weird sounds. Or this flute I found in Logic. Then this whale sound. And then this piano sound. And all of this together just creates a lot of tension. Together with the bass, the atmosphere. Some risers. And then again, not a lot, just a kick, the bass, and some pads to keep it nice and moving. Now for the second part, it's pretty much the exact same as the first part, only that I create a little bit of variation. And I already start to build it up again. And then after this point, I kind of pull it back to the break. And so basically, if I repeat here what I did here in the second half of the first drop and the first half of the second drop, and build it up with violence. Here it's just super important that I reintroduce the piano from the break, so this all creates like one cohesive melody. And while I introduce the piano, I completely take out the violins. As you can see, I originally had them inside, but it's just getting too full. So every time a new lead element gets introduced, I take away something else. Then again, the piano from the break. And super important are also these tiny effects in the background you can hear. The way I make them. For example, this one. It's just simple. It's just me basically going on like a piano, but it's basically me just automating this echo time here off the Echo Boy JR, and that creates these weird abstract glitches, and then I bounce it in audio and it sounds like this. For the bass, just a sub 2 BS Visions. If you've been on this channel, you know I love to use this bass pretty much for everything. I usually like to layer it, but for this Böhmer effect, I guess it's nice to keep it like this. Kick, pretty easy, just a kick from kick 2, and then I bounced it and I tuned it into the right key of the track. In the bass, it's also important that you have some variation from time to time. And then the kick is just from kick 2. And the drums are quite simple as well. Nothing too crazy going on here. Let me show you. So I have a shaker. I have some hats. Some snaps. Some noise hats. And then some rides. Because I didn't want to keep it too busy, because the top of the track is already very full. So the drums should just kind of give it some variation. And then from time to time, something that's supporting the drum groove are those effects in the background you just heard. For example, they are here. They're called FX perks. And it's just some variation that happens from time to time. And I panned it in the stereo image, and that combined with the drum groove adds enough variation to carry the track for at least 45 minutes. So yeah guys, that was pretty much the entire breakdown. Nothing too crazy here, really just some simple lead elements stacked on top of each other, and yeah, to create this really nice and deep sound. So yeah guys, that was the Abendrot track breakdown. If you like this one, please like and subscribe. Also make sure to check out maxböhmermusic.com for more resources. Have a beautiful day. Take care. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.